Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing it very, very well. This evening I've got another movie review for you all, so I hope you find this one interesting. This is a horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2014, directed by Patrick Bryce, and this film is called Creep. So story to Creep, you've got Joseph, who is putting an ad on Craigslist because he needs somebody to document his last days because he is dying from an inoperable brain tumour. The reason why he wants to document his last days is because his unborn son is never going to know his father. So he's going to try and talk to his son through the screen, and hopefully his son will grow up respecting his father. So in order to do this, he needs somebody to film him. So Aaron answers this ad. Now Aaron is a videographer, he does this for a living. He answers the ad with the promise of very good money for just a day's work. So he goes to this secluded house of Joseph, he meets Joseph, and then they talk terms, and then they start their project. And this is where Aaron realises that Joseph is a very strange person and is starting to make him feel very uncomfortable. So the more he knows him, the more and more stressful the situation is getting, and then all of a sudden things take a turn for the worse. So what that turn is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Creep. I had no idea what to expect with this film. I hadn't heard too many people talking about it. I really like the premise of the movie. It's that kind of like a freaky guy making someone else feel very uncomfortable, kind of like a stalkerish film. So I really enjoyed Jim Carrey's film The Cable Guy, which is a similar comparison I can make with this film, in that The Cable Guy was a dark comedy as well as a very sinister film underneath. Now Creep is a much more serious movie than The Cable Guy. I thought The Cable Guy was very exaggerated to the point where it was a straight out comedy, whereas this movie, the humour is a lot more subtle, but it's the same sort of thing. It makes you laugh, but in the underneath, it makes you feel very uneasy. And that's what I like about stalker movies, is that, you know, it's the fact that this stuff really happens, that the stalkers, you know, these people who are very obsessed with other people, how dangerous that can be. So for that subgenre, I really like the idea, and for that reason I really had high expectations for Creep, because it looked pretty good. It was a found footage horror film. Found footage has been done over and over, so if you're not a fan of found footage, this movie is not really going to win you over. But if you are a fan of found footage, then this is going to strike out something a little bit different. I can see a lot of people hating Creep because it is a very slow burner, but I thought the slow burner was done very, very well, and that's what made it the film it is. I thought the slow burner created the atmosphere. It's the stuff you can't see that really hits you with Creep, is the psychology of it all. It creeps under your skin. You get the sense that Joseph is not quite right, but you don't know exactly what this guy's capable of. If Aaron tells Joseph to go away, is Joseph going to flip out? And it's just that whole situation of not knowing this unstable person and the limits of this unstable person. Is that what keeps you on the edge of your seat without necessarily anything happening? And so for that to happen, it requires a really strong plan. I thought the plan of Creep was executed very well. Very patient build-up. My only problem with the film, I'll go into a little bit later, was the payoff. But I thought the acting, especially from Joseph, was the main point of the film. There's only two characters in the movie, and that could easily backfire if the characters weren't played well by the actors and the script wasn't very good, but the acting was absolutely fantastic. Aaron is definitely taking a back seat. He's much more of a subdued character, not so difficult to play, but the star of the show is Joseph, played by Mark Duplass. He does an absolutely incredible job at portraying someone who has a little bit of charm to him, but at the same time is very freaky, and you don't know exactly what this guy's intentions are, but you get the overwhelming sense that it's not going to be good. And then you can put yourself into the shoes of Aaron, because we've all come to the situation where we've got this creepy guy talking to us and we don't have it in our hearts to tell him to go away, because you can sense that the person you're talking to, although he's creepy, he has good intentions and that he's just trying to talk to you, and you feel so rude if you're going to tell him to leave. So I'm sure that's happened to a lot of people, and that's the reason why you can put yourself in the shoes of Aaron, is because Aaron is too nice to tell him to go away. He's getting freaked out, but nothing bad is actually happening. It's just a bad feeling, and that is not enough for him to say, look, I want out of this. He's too nice of a person. Because he's too nice of a person, you get the sense that he's not arrogant, he's not self-centered. He's doing this because he genuinely wants to help this character of Joseph. He feels sorry for his predicament he's in, but at the same time he's starting to get really creeped out and he just doesn't know a way out of this dilemma. And for me, I could relate to this character, and that's the reason why it works. You know, Joseph is not your standard type of bad guy, you know, very sympathetic guy as well. There's a little bit of, towards the end, that really tugs at your heartstrings, and I thought it really opened up the character of Joseph. But Mark Duplass, he makes the film work just for the fact that he's got such a wide range of abilities within this character. I thought the character was really well drawn out. The script was excellent. Had me laughing in places. Had me really, cringing, in awkward sort of embarrassment for the characters. There is some dialogue between the two of them where it just feels, wow, that was really off, and this guy is really unstable. It's not safe to be around here. Aaron, get out of there. But once again, Aaron's too nice of a person. The threat isn't imminent. The threat isn't actually imposed, but it's the overwhelming sense that it's going to be imposed eventually. And so it's like a ticking time bomb. The character of Josef is just a train wreck waiting to happen, and I just thought it was a fantastically sort of captivating experience that I wasn't expecting, because a lot of these found footage films, they're very cheap to make, and so a lot of them will copy films like the Paranormal Activity, where Paranormal Activity, it's very much in-your-face horror, the jump scares, what you hear, what you see, but in this movie it's about what you feel. It just creeps under your skin, it freaks you out. It's just atmospherically very, very well done. Now, my problem with the last part of the film is that I thought it was a little bit rushed, contradicted the patient build-up that it had at the start, and it just felt like it ran out of money, so they were just kind of cutting corners in order to finish the film as quick as possible. But where if they fleshed it out a little bit, it would have been a lot better, because the pacing, it feels very inconsistent from the first half to the second half. When it goes into more of a horror set piece, then it starts to lose its focus a little bit, and it starts to go into... So the attention span isn't quite there, whereas the first half, it's much more of a psychological, the stuff that you can't feel is creeping up on you, but when you actually see the horror on screen, that's where it starts to unravel a little bit, and that's where it starts to hurry itself up a little bit. And it just felt like a very rapid ending, and it didn't feel like it was as rewarding as the first half promised it to be. But overall, I thought this was a very impressive found footage horror film. Definitely right up there with the best of them. The acting was absolutely phenomenal. Two characters, but the two characters work well with each other. You don't notice that there are only two characters in the film, which is down to the fact that the writing is very good, the tense atmosphere is absolutely fantastic, and the rewarding climax right at the end, although, as I said, it's a little bit impatient, the very last scene will last in the memory for a very long time. So I thought Creep, definitely worth the effort. Go out there and see it. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. Alright guys, it's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.